This is the Fallkniven A1 knife. It's a medium-sized survival blade, and I dig it. Let's first talk about the category. I think I just spilled the beans. It's a survival knife. Maybe secondarily a defensive tool. It could function in that role as well. And there's a lot of great features about all the Fallknivens. I'm a big fan. They're very high quality. They're relatively reasonably priced. And the thing I love about Fallkniven is that a lot of custom makers will slam production blades. They kind of have to, because their whole livelihood depends on us not trusting production blades. However, that's a bunch of hogwash, I'm afraid to say. There's a lot of great production blades out there, and I've shown you several in this outdoor clinic and on my tabletop reviews that have served me well over the years. So we can't really say that production blades suck. They don't. There's a lot of excellent ones, and this A1 is yet another example of how a production blade can give outstanding performance in the wild. Now what we're going to do is demonstrate it and talk about all the features of the A1. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is its weight. And weight is a very critical issue when we go backpacking, or if we're in a tactical situation with a tactical loadout, maybe in Afghanistan or Iraq or any other situation like that. I'm big on weight, you know that. I've said that for all my videos, and I will never relent on that. However, I'm also of the mindset that there's good weight and there's bad weight. And what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes when I'm packing to go on one of my outdoor adventures, I'm willing to take a knife of this weight, 14 ounces, to get a capability in the woods like here in the great out of doors. And just for your reference, this is what I'm talking about. With Allie the mountain dog keeping guard. So when I get to a location like this, and yeah, this location took a lot of work to get to, I'm willing to pack a little bit more weight, like this Fallkniven A1. Now, the 14 ounces then is not a showstopper with me, and it's actually relatively lightweight, but it does have some limitations, and let's go ahead and talk to those limitations right now. First off, that 14 ounces, even though it's substantial for backpacking, it is not a huge blade. I don't have my ruler and I forget the specs, but looking at it, it's going to be like a 6-inch blade, maybe 6.5, not quite 7. Let me compare it against my Camelist. I know that's a 7-inch blade. And again, I'm on a review trip here. That's why I have so many blades with me. I normally wouldn't carry these. Yeah, I would say about 6. Anyways, that is a limitation. I've shown you another video specifically with RTAC 2 and its processing capabilities, wood processing capabilities, how that larger blade is just advantageous in every type of cutting scenario you're going to do in the great out of doors. But that being said, that's a lot of weight. The RTAC 2 is a 30-ounce knife in sheath. And of course, generally we're not going to be able to carry that much weight. And also, it's big and bulky. And maybe if you're a trooper in Afghanistan, Iraq, or future wars, this blade is just too darn big. That's just the way it runs out. So a Fallkniven A1 may be an excellent choice. What is it? So actually, let me finish talking about the blade. The 6-inch blade, therefore, is not huge, but it can serve, and I'm going to show you how it can serve in an outdoor role. By lacking heft and of length of blade, the Fallkniven may not be able to chop and shear limbs like other bigger knives, like the Cold Steel Recon Scout and the RTAC, maybe the Rat 7 and the Ontario SP5. But it still can hold its own, and you'll be able to do most survival tasks with it, which I'll demonstrate some of them here. Another advantage of the Fallkniven knives is they come in stainless, and that's the main reason I added this one to my inventory, is because it's made of VG10 steel. I think Fallkniven calls it VG10L or something like that. Anyways, it's a very good all-around stainless steel that's pretty darn hard. Now, in my experience, it's also pretty darn brittle. So I have to be careful with this knife as I baton with it not to go into the ground and hit rocks, because I will introduce chips into the blade here. And I've done that with my Fallkniven A2 wilderness knife, which I've done a review on. You can look at that. So be careful, and that's the advantage of the VG10, of course, is that it's stainless. That's really excellent. I love that. However, it's more brittle. And that also speaks to the durability and the wearability of a 1095 type tool steel, a non-stainless steel. And that example of that might be, again, the K-bar. It's a non-stainless steel, and it's pretty darn durable, and I've yet to nick it in all my use. So, but it's not stainless, and in a high moisture environment, which we're not in today, but in 6 months this area will be chocked with about 4 feet, 6 feet of snow, and this camless will be at a disadvantage to the A1 here. Now, another good thing about the blade of the A1 is that it's thick. In fact, it's actually about a 1/4 inch thick, so that's really, really a great advantage. And I've kind of shown you in this outdoor clinic some advantages of that thick wedge-shaped design that blasts through wood and shears limbs off more easily. So thick is good. Yes, it equates to more weight, and also some more heft, but it's also very advantageous for just about every other cutting task that we'll introduce to the blade. Now, this Fallkniven is not a full flat grind. It's a compound grind, meaning that, let me use my rat one to show you, my pointer. The grind of the blade actually starts about mid-spine, and then it goes down, you can see, to the bevel and the relief cut to the edge. Ideally, this would be a full flat grind, and the reason I say that is when I'm doing woodwork, like you see behind you, processing wood for firewood, and that's the majority of the work my blades will do in the out of doors. When I do that, these flat areas are disadvantageous. They're not good because they can lock in the middle of a log. Now, if you keep it lubricated with WD-40, kind of like this, it's going to be less of a factor for you because you'll lubricate that flat area and it won't lock into the log. If you let sap build up on that area as you're batoning through the wood, you can lock the blade. And that aside, just physics, a wedge shape like the RTAC 2 again is just a better wood processor, better everything cutter in my opinion. Now, that being said, I still think the A1 is an excellent knife and it has so much to offer. One is the feel of it. It's very ergonomic. It feels good in the hand. The handle, I wish actually was a little bit longer. I think all the Fallkniven knives that I've held, at least their Wilderness series knives and their survival knives, have just a little bit short handle. By the way, my battery's dying, so if this dies, this will be the review. Craton handle, full tang, and I just wish it maybe had about a 1/2 inch more of grip out here for the Fallkniven A1. I do like Craton grips. I find that sap will get on them a lot, and I have to spend some time cleaning the grip off after I'm done. However, they perform very well, and they also absorb shock as I'm batoning through wood. So all that's to the good. Nice lanyard hole here, and usually, not today, but usually I do have lanyards on my knives, especially if it's snowing, in case I drop it in a snowbank. It's easier to locate. Generally a high visibility lanyard in that case. By the way, I didn't talk about the coating on the blade. I really like that matte black coating for a survival blade. Yeah, it's going to wear off as we go. You've seen my Cold Steel Recon Scout, but it's probably going to be fairly durable as we go along here. Got a nice finger guard here on the top. Nothing on the, on the bottom, nothing on the top, but this choil area here is enough to, maybe if we go for a thrust attack in a defensive situation with the A1, it would prevent us going forward on that. And that's how I'll classify this knife. It's mostly a survival blade, but yes, secondarily it could be used as a defensive blade, probably quite effectively. This is an unsharpened swage on this Bowie style compound ground blade, and indeed it's unsharpened, and I'm going to leave it unsharpened because to me this is a survival outdoor blade, and that means I'm going to be whacking it, as you'll see in a separate video. I was going to do on this, but I'm running out of time. I whack it right here with my baton, so I do not need that sharpened. Nice protrusion of the tang there in the rear area, and you could do a non-lethal or lethal impact depending on where you hit with that. So really nice blade. I didn't really get to the sheath. I'll cover that in my cutting portion of the Fallkniven A1 knife. Stay tuned. Here comes the batoning and cutting performance of the A1. Nothing fancy. Thanks for watching.